Well, a very, very happy Wednesday morning. Welcome to the John Kentera Show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Glad you could join me today. Hey, opening day tomorrow, 110 Petco Park opening day for our San Diego Padres going against the Detroit Tigers and left-hander Tarek Skubal. And we're going to give you the matchups for the entire series a little bit later on. But without any further ado, we got a big show today. Big show. I'm going to give you my division winners and who's going to finish first, who's going to finish second, who's going to finish in last place in their division. We've got it all for you today. But right now, we get out to our good buddy, a longtime writer, now retired, but still working his tail off from the Associated Press. Mr. Bernie Wilson joins us on the John Kentera Show. And Bernie, good morning. And man, I'll tell you what, you look really refreshed this morning. Life is treating you well, it looks like.
Well, thanks, Coach. Always good seeing you. Living in East County and drinking a lot of coffee, that's the key.
Hey, congratulations on your Idaho Vandals getting to the NCAA tournament. That was quite an effort.
It was. I think we were like 7th seeded in the Big Sky and had to win 4 games in 5 days, something crazy like that. And that was the first time we made the big dance in 36 years. So
that was awesome.
Then we were served up as cannon fodder for Houston, but that's how the 15 seed works.
Well, they got a good young coach there. I was pretty impressed with him. You got a chance to actually meet him when they came out here and played at USD and UCSD.
Yes, I did. And actually, I'd met him 2 years ago. I went up to see Idaho get whacked in football at Cal, and he was there at the tailgate because he's a NorCal guy originally, Alex Tribble. But yes, I turned out to see the Vandals lose at USD, and then a few days later blow a double-digit lead at UCSD. But as Boach would have said, there at that point there was still a lot of ball to be played. So that was November. Things changed by March, and yes, the mighty Vandals made it to the big dance finally again.
All right, Bernie, let's talk Padre baseball. I know you're going to be there at opening day tomorrow, rubbing shoulders with the new ball club, the new skipper, Craig Stammen. But before we get talking about the team, what are your thoughts? What are you hearing through the grapevine, if anything, right now? Because it really sounds like the Seidler family can't get out of town quick enough by selling this ball club. And if they sell it for $3.1 billion, like, that's being reported, what the Padres are worth, they're going to be very, very happy. They don't want to go through an entire 2026 season. I think they can't get out of here quick enough. What do you think about that?
That's what it sounds like. You probably hear more than I do. With me being retired now and just being a freelancer, all I do is go down and cover occasional games. But, obviously I try to keep up on it. But I have no idea where it is in the process. But I wouldn't be surprised, like you say, that the Seidlers just want to cash out and get out. And, and then the great mystery is who the new owner is and what his actual goals are, and whether he or she, I don't know, maybe there's women involved in this, I don't know, are committed to winning. That's the big thing. You sure hope it's not some equity fund guy who comes in here and savages the team. I think, me, Coach, I've been accused of being negative. I always say it's realistic. I think people should, just have a whole lot of questions on what the motivation is of a new owner and whether they are committed to winning.
Well, I think that's more than fair. I mean, everybody wants to, paint this rosy picture all the time. Well, you know what? As well as I do, we've been in those clubhouses for years. We've been, had some pretty good sources over the years as well. Man, there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes that people have no idea, but the organization always wants to paint this rosy picture, and it's not always rosy.
Of course it's not. And, you and I have been through so many ownership changes with the Padres. I mean, after a while, you just roll your eyes and sit back and wait for it to happen. And, it doesn't affect me now one way or another whether they win, lose, or draw. I just go down, cover games, get back on my beloved Orange Line trolley and head back to East County. But, it is a community asset. And I know we had these discussions when the former NFL team that used to, well, it's still an NFL team, but the team that used to play here was trying to wring as much as it could out of the city. And it viewed itself as a very entitled entity rather than some kind of a community asset. But the Padres really are a community asset. Obviously, they're owned by people in private business, but it's, the only big pro sport in San Diego, unless you count the MLS. You could do that, but you hope for the community's sake that it turns out well. I don't know how close they are to winning a World Series championship, which was the late great Peter Seidler's goal. That, I don't know, the window, I don't know that it's closed, but it doesn't seem to be wide open right now. But you hope whoever buys the team comes in and treats it like a community asset.
Bernie, let me ask you this, and I want to stay on the Seidler family for a minute. I had a very interesting question posed to me the other day, and I want to get your answer on this. The question was, if Peter Seidler was here today, and let's just say he was, on the outside looking in, and his family was selling this ball club, how do you think he would feel? Or do you think with all the money that he put into this, and possibly he knew a lot more about it than we did, he may have knew that he was on borrowed time and he wanted to try to get a championship for the city of San Diego. How do you think that he would look at this ball club being sold, even though he may have had to sell it at some point in time just because he over leveraged himself?
That's a great question, Coach. I don't think he would be happy either way. Whether he wanted to sell the team or had to sell the team, although I don't think he would ever want to sell the team. He probably knew he was on borrowed time, and that's why he, was dumping all the money in, trying desperately to win a championship. And he was sincere about that. Everybody knew he was a 2-time cancer survivor. Nobody knew how sick he really was toward the end. I mean, they knew that something wasn't right, and the team put out a statement that he had a procedure and wouldn't be at the ballpark the rest of the year. And at that point, you just thought, oh boy, let's hope for the best here. But I don't think he'd like to see what's going on. Especially the family fight and having to put the team up for sale. I think he'd probably be rather PO'd about it.
Well, we'll see where it's going to go ownership-wise. I know, we had heard, they may have a new owner by opening day, and, they still could. They could have one by tomorrow, okay? Or it could be announced by tomorrow. Of course, the owners have to prove that. But I go, you know what? I don't know if I'd want to buy a team right now. And the reason why, you're walking into a big headache looking around the 2027 baseball season. I don't know if we're going to even have a 2027 baseball season. So whoever buys this team, if they buy it before the end of the year, who knows what they're in store for their true maiden season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess in the business world and in a world of uncertainty, you probably, and if you have a ton of money, you just go ahead and buy a team, write out whatever labor troubles might lay ahead, whether, maybe there won't be a 2027 season, but I guess, here I am being an optimist. Maybe there will be a 2028 season, unless we get hit by a massive asteroid and go the way of the dinosaurs. But yeah, I don't know. See, that's why, now that I'm retired, it's just, I've got that Tim Flannery outlook on life. That might go over some people's head. Coffee early, vapor later on. If you make it to sunset, great. Have a gin and tonic or pop open a hazy IPA. Whatever happens, congrats to all involved. And, maybe they'll have a free beer at the ballpark night. I really doubt it, but maybe they'll drop the price to $15 for a beer. Who knows?
Okay, Bernie, I saw the Union Tribune put out a really, really nice section here in the last 5 days. They had Fernando on the cover in a big article, how he's going to do this and do that. And they had all the predictions for all the different divisions. And I was kind of shocked. Jeff Sanders, who has been writing for a long time, I mean, I'm sure that he took some other input from the Union Tribune, but the bottom line, I surprisingly put the Padres to finish fourth in the National League West. Now, I do disagree with that, but you know what? I think between Arizona, San Francisco, it's going to be a fight for second and third. And I think whoever finishes second and third in the division very well could both qualify as wild cards. But your thoughts on the Union Tribune picking the Padres fourth when we're supposed to still have our window of opportunity to win a World Series?
I saw that. I like Jeff Sanders. I've known him for a long time. He works his tail off. I mean, he did yeoman's work on that special section. I believe he did every division preview. I mean,
well, that's insane because that's a lot of work.
Yeah. See, we're down to the digital subscription now. I missed the days of thumbing through a newspaper, but it finally got to the point where it's just easier to go digital. But I was looking at it last night, and it's like, my man, he did a great job. Clicking through page after page of division previews, and he did all of them. That's a lot of numbers too when you're putting in, rosters, stats, this and that. But I noticed that too. That's what I always look for. I'm not big on predictions because I would be wrong all the time, but I noticed that he picked them fourth, and that's probably the way to go. I mean, I applaud that kind of thinking rather than we got to support the local team and pick them second behind the Dodgers just because A, everybody's playing for second place, and B, they're the local team. That's not the way to do it. It's better than, back in the day, the Chargers, remember, they were always propped up. Oh, they're going to win the West. This is their year to win the Super Bowl. I know I shouldn't mention them, but, kudos to Jeff Sanders. I mean, I think it's probably better to start out the season viewing them as a fourth place team and then let them surprise everybody and come through and get a playoffs. But yeah, you don't have to obviously win the division because the Dodgers are expected to do that, but get second or third and you're probably going to be a wild card team.
Hey, let me ask you this from a journalistic standpoint. I mean, you've had run-ins with players over the years, or guys read something or their girlfriend tells them something that the AP wrote, and you go into the clubhouse. A guy like Jeff Sanders, when he goes in, could any of the players that maybe saw that give him the old raspberry, you think?
I don't think they would. For starters, I'm not being a dick here, I don't know how many of them read the paper. I don't know how many of them track that stuff. It's not like the old days when there were actually photocopies of the newspaper article, not necessarily the clubhouse, but floating around the front office, and somebody might bring one down to the clubhouse, or somebody might say, hey, did you see the UT picked you guys fourth? I don't think they care. And I think we're way beyond in the era of, 8-9 figure salaries, $100 million players, $400 million players, that they really care. If they do pay attention, good. But I don't think they know, and I don't think they would care.
Let's get to the ball club. Let's start with the manager, Craig Stammen. I mean, you've obviously covered him. You know what man of integrity he is. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. And, I had a lot of people when he got this job ask me, how do you think Craig Stammen's going to do? And my response was, I don't know. Craig Stammen doesn't know how he's going to do.
That's a good point, Coach. He seems to be handling everything well, seems to be very smooth with the media. But yeah, 1:10 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, it's, he's going up against a pretty good pitcher, a pretty good manager, not personally against the pitcher, but, it's for real. And I don't know. I think it's still a surprise that AJ Preller went down that path. Preller is known for doing stuff like that, but you're right. He's got a lot of work ahead and a lot to prove. So I'm glad he got a 3-year contract. And it sounds like he had kept a house here from his playing days. You know how the what is it? The gallows humor goes. You know, if you're managing or coaching in San Diego, don't buy a house, rent.
Especially if you're the hitting coach.
I was just going to say the hitting coach, the long line of hitting coaches. There's probably still some houses on the market from fired hitting coaches, but you know, I'm glad he got a 3-year contract, and you know, it's like, good luck, bro. Now go out and do it.
Yeah, I look at this pitching staff right now, Bernie. And 3 weeks ago, I was fairly encouraged. Right now, with everything that's transpired, Musgrove, we don't know when he's going to pitch again. Michael King has not been very good. Pavetta, just a little bit better than King, quite frankly. Randy Vasquez kind of been the bell cow during spring training. His ERA ended up at 4.71, and I realize these ERAs and all that, you can throw them out. But guys like Pavetta hadn't had that overpowering stuff yet. Maybe saving it for opening day. Michael King has just flat out not been good. And then you really don't know what you're getting from one start to the next out of Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez. And bullpen should be outstanding. But, man, this starting rotation right now, you got to kind of cross your fingers.
Yeah, first of all, I hate to keep bringing up that team, but, you know, I never heard the term bell cow until ball coach McCoy brought it up one time. During his reign of error coaching the C words out there, brought up the term bell cow. I can't remember which running back it was, probably Melvin Gordon, but bell cow, that's a great term. And I think if you are a cow, you want to be the bell cow. But you mentioned the bullpen. Yes, there's a lot of issues with the rotation, and you really hope they don't burn out the bullpen early in the season. Because of problems with the rotation. Because, you know, I've been just blasting through a few other previews besides the UT's. Excellent job with those huge pictures of El Nino, Tatis, and those flowing dreads. But yeah, and it's been pointed out that the strengths are the rotation and the outfield, and that's the immediate question is, you know, gosh, are they going to burn this bullpen out because they're having to go to it so much? But yeah, the rotation does not sound solid. And I guess it's unfortunate about Joe. You want to see him on the mound, but that's not a surprise coming off of Tommy John surgery. King, you know, it was a mystery last year, and I guess the mystery is going to continue this year. And yeah, so you just, again, you hope that they're not in tatters by the end of April.
Yeah, absolutely. Bernie, I think the everyday lineup is actually better this year. I mean, you got Ramon Laureano starting the year. He had 24 homers combined in his 2 stops. Last year, they had Jason Hayward and Brandon Lockridge out there early on. Jackson Merrill will be better this year as long as you stay on the field. Last year, he had all kinds of problems: hamstring, concussion, sliding into second base, an ankle late in the year. You got Tatis, the infield, you know, aside from Gavin Sheets now as the first baseman rather than playing left field. You got the same infield back, and you've upgraded the catcher. I think with Freddie Fermin, you're doing a good job behind the plate, and he can swing the bat. And you got, whether it be Miguel Andujar or Nick Castellanos, Ty France. I mean, I think the everyday roster and their bench is better than they were a year ago.
I agree, and you nailed it. These guys got to stay healthy. It's just, and you know there are going to be injuries. You know, it's a non-contact sport, but it's also a tough sport. Guys get hurt. You know, I was reading the UT story on Tatis, and it's great that he seems to be in a good frame of mind. Had a killer WBC, and I really, really wish the Dominicans had beaten the United States, because, you know, that Dominican team, and I'm glad the Venezuelans won. I mean, the joy that these Latin American teams play with is off the charts, infectious, and I think it's great for baseball. But it was fun watching Tatis in the WBC, except when it got punted to Fox Sports 2, which I don't know where it is, or some of these other goofy channels.
I could have brought you over. You could have watched it on my TV. I get it.
Yeah, darn, that would have been fun. I would have brought a 6-pack of soda and some Doritos. But you hope for. I mean, to me, Tatis, Bebo, Toddy, El Nino, he's still the straw that stirs the drink. He is infectious. But Kevin Acey's article touched on the fact, something we've known all along. He pouts. If he's in a bad stretch, he pouts, and if he can get past that and stay healthy, he could. People are already talking up an MVP season, but people need to know you don't win an MVP in April. You can certainly get charging down the road toward one, but he's got to stay healthy. And you're right, Merrill, all these guys. I mean, Laureano broke a finger and was out for missed the last, I can't remember how many weeks. And
he missed the
playoffs, the whopping 3-game charge through the wild card until it ended. But yeah, they absolutely have to stay healthy, and that obviously that's easier said than done.
You mentioned, and they talked about in the article about, Fernando pouting and that. How about Machado just being moody? And you never know from one day to the next what he's going to be like walking into that clubhouse. That has to have an effect on this ball club.
Well, if you lead by example, yeah. They are two very different personalities. Very different. Machado's referred to as the captain. I don't know that they've ever officially named him the captain. And I don't think baseball players do C's on their shirt, on their jersey, like they do in hockey and perhaps other sports. In hockey, it's the sweater. You know that, Coach.
Right.
But no, they are two vastly different personalities. I mean, vastly, night, day. And I guess I'll just leave it at that and let people draw their own conclusions. But if I look, and this is strictly business, it's not personal. If I needed a quote from one player, I would make a beeline to Tatis. He is joyful. He gives great answers. It's literally a 4-minute one-stop shopping. You like players like that. You could get in and out, ask a question, but follow up, maybe get in a couple other questions. He always has great answers. And again, watching him, we know what kind of player he is when he's going well, hitting bombs, the stutter step around third base. I love the bat flips. And any traditionalist, stuff your pie hole. I think bat flip should be welcome as part of the game. He's one of the best at it. When he's going well, he's a joy to watch. And again, it's to each their own. Machado's not that way. And again, nothing personal, but I tend to focus more on Tatis, and especially as a journalist. Again, our time's limited, their time's limited. Space is limited in papers and on the web, even on websites. If I need one dynamite quote, I'm going to go to Tatis.
As far as Fernando, and I've said it for years. When I was on the radio, I said it. I was disappointed when he got suspended for the PEDs. I'm glad he's back on the field, but he's my favorite player because he's one of those guys. I mean, he's truly one of those guys. Every night you come to the ballpark, you could see something that you haven't seen before, or you're going to, he can stretch a double into a triple. He can rob a ball over the right field wall. He can throw a guy out at the plate or at third base. He can go first to third. And, he's a 5-tool guy, but you watch him play and I just get so frustrated sometimes because I want to say it's immaturity, but he's 27 years old. It's time to come out and really play. I mean, Bernie, last year, the first 7 weeks, he was unbelievable. I thought he was going to maybe win the National League Most Valuable Player, and then all of a sudden he went into the tank and he was moving around. It didn't look like he was enjoying himself at all.
Right, and there were a few points last year where people were rightly saying, "What's wrong with him?"
Yeah,
and we're wondering, is there something going on beyond baseball? Right. And even some discussions went down the road. Is the team trying to help him? Is there a sports psychologist? Can people pull him aside and talk to him? I don't know the depths of the inner workings of a team when a player's going bad, but You know, we have kids. They all struggle growing up. When your son or daughter's struggling, don't you pull them aside and get them help? I mean, this is a $1 billion industry where you're talking about massive contracts. You got to protect your investment. Don't, you know, when things were going bad, it's like, is anybody talking to this guy? What's going on? Are they finding out? Is something going on? And yeah, the Padres need a healthy, lively, energetic Bebo. I mean, again, to go way back, this shows how old I am. The old Reggie Jackson, I'm the straw that stirs the drink. Tatis has never said that, but
And
to
the
me,
ice that chills the glass too.
yeah, exactly. To me, ever since he came up in 2019, he's to me, he's the heart and soul of the Padres. But his the way, yeah, he stole what, 4 home runs? I think they were all at home. There might have been one on the road, but and don't get me wrong, Machado is still a terrific third baseman. I mean, he is a fantastic third baseman. Some of the throws that he
Well,
made.
put it this way: if I had to pay to see one of those guys play, I'd pay to see Tatis.
Oh, I totally would too. I'm just giving Manny some defensive props. He made a few throws in the WBC. But yeah, to me, robbing a home run the way Tatis can get his glove and most of his arm over and above the fence, to me, is just an absolutely spectacular sight.
Yeah, he's when he wants to play, he's something special. And like I said, any night you go to the ballpark, he can do something that maybe you've never ever seen before. Brent, let me ask you this. I want to get off the Padres for a minute. Well, I want to stay on the Padres, but I want to go history wise, and I'll share mine. And maybe you won't feel comfortable, but who's the biggest dick you've ever had to deal with in a Padre uniform?
Oh man, that's a great question.
Well, I'm going to tell you mine, and I'll give you a little time
Yeah,
to think.
tell me
You
yours first.
remember, and I don't remember, it must have been maybe late 90s, early 2000s. The Padres brought in a guy that had been a really good pitcher in the big leagues, but he was on his last legs here, Danny Jackson. And I remember he was left-hander for Cincinnati, the
Yeah, I remember
Cubs,
Danny
the
Jackson.
Cardinals, and he came
Mhm.
in. He was a total dick,
Mhm.
total dick. You know, he felt entitled. He still thought he was the same a great pitcher he once was. The Padres gave him an opportunity, and I remember I was so frustrated. And I can't even remember my interaction, but I just walked away. I go, what a dick. And I went over to Tony, and he goes, what's wrong? I go, Danny Jackson's a real dick, Tony. He goes, don't worry about it. He won't be here very long. And he got released the following week. But I mean, I just bugged me. I mean, you know, some guys, you know, they walk around, they play the tough guy role. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And but here's a guy that the Padres gave an opportunity to salvage career, and he was a dick.
You know, I remember Danny Jackson, and I concur. He was a dick. What I seem to remember is, I think toward the very, very end, he started realizing that he had been a dick. Because if I'm thinking of if he's the right guy, he wanted to open a bowling alley or something like that to have a post baseball business career, and was looking for some publicity and stuff. And I was thinking to him, I didn't tell him this. I probably should have. But a guy like that who is a dick to the media, it's like, dude, you're not getting squat out of me. I would never promote any business of yours. You know, you send me a press release, I'm either tearing it up, or if you email it to me, I'm deleting it. Yeah, I remember he was an entitled dick. Now, Kevin Brown was a dick, but
But he was always a dick. That's just who he was.
but he was a productive dick.
Right.
It's just that, and the question is, why do these guys need to be dicks? They're making millions of dollars playing a kid's game. And you don't need to be a dick, because but it comes around. Yeah, you remember we both remember Danny Jackson being a dick. Kevin Brown, I don't think needs any post playing.
You know, the one thing I would say about Kevin Brown, and I totally concur. I mean, I didn't want to talk to him the day before, the day after, or any other time. Okay. He just
Right.
wasn't one of those guys. And I knew about him before he ever got here because a buddy of mine had him in a baseball camp back at Georgia Tech when he was a little kid at 13 years old. And he had told me, he goes, yeah, he's kind of a weird guy, But with that being said, a number of years ago, the Padres had like an alumni day, and Kevin Brown came.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was a really nice guy now.
It's hard to believe. That's because the media is not pestering him. But yeah, I would rather talk to a wall than a guy like Kevin Brown, or just go without quotes, or you go talk to somebody else. But the last time they honored that 98 team, he's still in fighting trim. He is a physical specimen.
Oh, he
Or
looked great.
At least he was that time. It's like, man, there's some intimidation factor with that guy.
What's kind of weird? When he signed with the Dodgers, he said he wanted to be closer to home. I kind of think LA's about 100 miles further than it is to Georgia from San Diego.
Yeah. Well, remember, he got the use of that private jet.
Oh, that's right.
So that's probably what made it closer to home.
That was the difference maker.
Yeah. You know who really wore Brown out was the late, great TJ Simers of the LA Times.
Oh,
he absolutely savaged Kevin Brown, rightly so. I mean, he wasn't taking cheap shots, just writing about what a dick he was in the clubhouse. And the thing about TJ, he would show up the next day, the morning, the evening, whatever, the afternoon of the day his column was in the paper, and stand by the locker of the player that he had just ripped.
Yeah, so if everybody wanted to say something, he was there. And you know what? That's a true professional, though.
Yeah, and TJ's stock response would be, hey, thanks for reading. But yeah, Kevin Brown just absolutely went nuts when TJ was around.
Hey, do you remember the year after Kevin Brown signed, his first year with the Dodgers? He pitched against the Padres, and Reggie Sanders hit that big 3-run homer just inside the left field foul pole, and they came out and they took Brown out, and all the Padre fans were over the Dodger dugout waving dollar bills at him as he walked into the dugout.
Oh yeah, well, and
you were there that night.
Oh yeah, was that the game when they gave him his NL championship ring from '98? And that
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, you're right. It was a start, but yeah, but they were playing. That's right. The fans were waving dollar bills, and the whatever they call them, the DJ, the PA were playing all these money themed songs like Money, Pink Floyd, and Can't Buy Me Love.
Money.
Yeah, all those money songs. People thought it was a cheap shot, but hey, if you don't like it, ignore it or win the game.
I just remember Reggie Sanders hit that majestic. It was a really, really high fly ball down the left field line out of the ballpark for a 3-run homer. And they came out and took Brown out, and everybody was leaning over there at the old ballpark at Qualcomm waving dollar bills as he went into the dugout.
Well, there were some pretty strong feelings. I think you've heard this story that John Morris was so pissed that he signed with the Dodgers that he wanted to just leave Brownie's NL championship ring out on home plate and say, there it is. If you want it, go get it.
Oh, geez, that's brutal. Yeah. Well, hey, Bernie, what's your take? I mean, real quick, just give me your hypothesis, your educated guess here, okay? Where do you think the Padres finish in the division, and do you think they will get in as a wild card?
My best optimistic sunshine guess would be third place, and that they'll be scrapping for a wild card. I don't think they're a shoe-in by any means. I think the UT picking them fourth, let's make that the benchmark. If they finish, I think if they get their rotation figured out and don't have too many early debacles or midseason debacles with that, they could finish third. But I think third, based on where they are today, is probably a best case scenario. And whether that's good enough to get them a wild card, who knows? It depends on how the other divisions play out. But I'm going to sit in third place.
Hey, Bernie, what my take is? The Padres only have to be better than 9 other teams in the National League. And a lot of those teams don't even want to win.
That's a good point. I mean, the wild card era really is magical, isn't it? You don't have to be good or dominant to just, finish ahead of those other teams and you're in. And, last year it lasted a whopping 3 games, and Eddie Vedder pissed off all of San Diego because he was there cheering for the Cubs. But So be it. Win some games. you know,
Well, Eddie Vedder's originally from Chicago, isn't he?
correct.
Before he
Yeah,
came out here.
Yeah, he's. I think he grew up in Evanston or someplace like that, and was a early Cubs fan before he moved out to San Diego. But
big
people.
Encinitas guy. I went to
That's
San
right.
Diego High.
San
Didn't
Diego
graduate
High.
from San Diego, but he did go to San Diego.
That's all you need, Coach. You just need to have, like Garth Brooks said, I wore the uniform.
That's exactly right. Well, hey, Bernie, I'm sure you're not going to go with the big tie and all that on opening day like we did years ago, right?
Coach, I have never worn a tie.
Come on. Remember when I used to wear ties to the ballpark?
Well, but you're a big electronic media star. I'm just a little scrub print guy. I will dress up, but I have never, ever worn a tie or even a sport coat to opening day. In fact, the Associated Press style opening day is lowercase o, lowercase d. It's a big deal, but remember, it's one of 162.
That's right.
I might be wearing this shirt. It depends on the how hot it is downtown. I dress for comfort, Coach. I don't need style points at my age or with this face. I don't need style points. I just need to be comfortable.
Hey, and I always love, and I'll leave you on this ball club. When they get off to a slow start, well, it's a long season, but the bottom line, the games in late March, April, May, they all count. So you might as well start winning now rather than waiting until August and September.
Yeah, well, I mean, one game can make a difference in a season, whether you clinch a wild card or not.
So, absolutely. Hey, say hello to the family for me. Good to catch up. We'll do it again here real soon after you've gone down there and broken bread with everybody.
All right, Coach. Hope you make it down to the ball yard sometime. Do they still let you in, or do you?
I don't have a pass, but Anthony Gwynn said anytime I want to come, just to let him know, and he'll take care of me. Okay,
come and hang with us in the down in the far end of the press box. You know who I really miss is Randy Jones. God bless his soul. He would come drop by the scribes end of the press box, and we would laugh like we were a bunch of frat boys.
You're down in my corner where I was at.
You're right. I have the old hacksaw seat down in the corner, but that was also you had that whole wing.
My seat was actually against the window. But Hacksaw, because he always wanted to set his computer up and face away from the game and turn his back on everybody, I let him go into the corner.
Okay, well, he can get killed by a foul ball if you do that.
Yeah, Hacksaw, he needs to keep his head on a swivel anyways.
Yeah, he does. After 36 years, I'm still petrified of foul balls.
Yeah, well, our late great buddy Scott Miller, he went to get an ice cream one night, and he came back to a blown out computer.
Computer. You got to keep your laptop on a swivel too.
Hey, Bernie, good stuff, buddy. Thanks.
All right, guys, take care.
There you go, Bernie Wilson. I had to bring that thing up. Who's the biggest dick you've ever covered? He went with Kevin Brown, but he remembers my guy Danny Jackson. But I'll never forget going to Tony. He goes, "What's wrong?" I go, "Man, Danny Jackson's a dick." He goes, "Don't worry, he won't be here very much longer." He wasn't. Okay, real quick, I want to get into opening day tomorrow, 1:10. Get down there early. Make sure you got all the parking taken care of. The matchups for the weekend: Detroit left-hander Tarek Skubal, 13-6, 2.21 last year, second Cy Young in 2 years. Going against right-hander Nick Pivetta, 13-5 and a 2.87. And Nick coming off a great year, 6th in the National League Cy Young voting last year. Didn't have a great spring, but hey, maybe he'll turn it on tomorrow. Friday night, 6:40. It'll be left-hander Framber Valdez making his Tigers debut. Of course, all those years he pitched for Houston, going against right-hander Michael King, who did not have a good spring, as we've talked about. And then Saturday, 5:40, right-hander Jack Flaherty going against right-hander Randy Vasquez. Padres off on Thursday. Giants will be in on Monday night for a big 3-game series. And I think the Giants will probably be pitching Logan Webb in the final game of that series, I do believe. Could be the second game, but I think it'll probably be on Wednesday. But he's starting tonight, so we'll see. They open the season tonight. How about that? Just wanted to talk briefly on Monday a little bit. Padres won their final game 10-3. They finished the spring 15-15. Herman Marquez finished Cactus League with one of the better outings, really, of all the Padre pitchers during the spring. Went out there, did a very, very nice job. Kyle Hart pitched well. Marquez followed. Actually, Hart started. It was kind of weird. Hart started and went 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, a strikeout. Only run given up in spring by Kyle Hart in 14 innings. I mean, he gave up 1 run in 14 innings with 15 punchouts, had a 0.64 ERA. He's making the team. Marquez followed. He went 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and in 5 games he ended up going 1-2 with a 7.16 ERA, 16 1/3 innings, 23 punchouts, and you know what, doing a good job. He's going to be the 5th starter. So there you have it. I just wanted to mention that. We're going to get into our predictions, but I'm going to tell you what, we'll get to the predictions here in a minute. I want to jump up, and I know I had it in different order, but let's get to the coaches' crew questions because I'm going to tell you right now, I got the Padres finishing second. Union Tribune had them pick fourth, but I'm going to go through AL East, Central, AL West, and I'll give it to you all here in a minute. But I want to get out to your questions because Bernie and I had a lot to say, talking about Fernando, talking about Machado, talking about Craig Stammen. And I got the Padres finishing second. They're going to be a wild card again this year, but I'm going to tell you this. This may be the last year they're going to be a wild card unless they're able to, get some guys up from the minor leagues and develop some players. Because I don't know where this ownership is going to turn as far as who's going to be the new owner, how much money they want to invest. And you got 2 aging ball players on the left side of your infield. Cronenworth's not young. I mean, Cronenworth's going to be 33 years of age. So you got a lot of age in that infield right now. They've talked about giving Machado more days off. I think that probably would behoove him and help the ball club keep other guys fresh, but keep Manny fresh. Manny's going to still hit 270. He should hit 270 and hit 25 to 30 homers and drive in 90+ runs. Okay. And hopefully he plays a solid third base, which I think he will. He got a little sloppy last year, early in the year, but then really picked it up, I thought, down the stretch. He got to be a little bit better from day one. Okay, let's get out the coach's crew, and then I'll give you my divisional picks. All right. Let's see, Joe, Coach, how many wins? I have them at 85. I'm gonna go with 87. I'm gonna go with 87. I don't know if they can get to 90. If you'd asked me this 3 weeks ago, I would have said 90. But I am a little concerned about the pitching right now. I'm going to go with 87. And I think the division is going to be better. I think the Giants are going to be better. I think Arizona, who finished 2 games under 500, they're going to be right around there again this year. Dodgers, I think, have less problems this year than they did a year ago. And I think Colorado's going to win a few games. They're going to still lose 100, but they're going to be a little bit better. So I'm going to go 87. I'd go 87 for the Padres, Joe. 85, I get it. You know what? I probably side more with you than with me, but I'm going to go with 87 because I think they do finish in second place. The Giants are a problem for me. I'm very concerned about the Giants. I'm not as concerned about the Diamondbacks because they don't have a good bullpen, but I am concerned about the Giants. Giants could nip us and get second place this year. If the Padres ended up in fourth, be a long off season. They finish in fourth. You got to start wondering if this group needs to be broken up. If that happens, we'll see. Joe, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Casey King, good morning, Coach. And first off, great to see you the other night at the Strike Force game, and thank you for signing my football. And you and Steve are a great duo. As for the Padres, I have them at 86 to 90 wins. Casey, it was great seeing you. Enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the conversation we had before and after the game the other night. And thanks for allowing me to sign your football. I think 86 to 90. Like I just said, I think I'm going with 87. I'll go with 87 right now. I'll mark it down and we'll see where they go. Well, I'll tell you, coming out of the gate, oh my God. I mean, Jack Flaherty, you can beat. But if Scooble's on tomorrow, and again, you don't know how deep these guys are going to go on opening day. There's going to be natural adrenaline, but after the adrenaline wears off, guys are going to get fatigued. I don't know where Scooble is. Can you go 5? Can you go 6? Can you turn it over to the bullpen after 5 and the Tigers can hang on? I don't know. Then they get Framber Valdez. I don't know when Gavin Sheets is going to play. Probably going to end up pinch hitting because you're going to see 2 left-handers the first 2 days, and then you got Jack Flaherty on Saturday. And Flaherty, he's not the same guy he was. I mean, he did a nice job a couple of years ago helping out the Dodgers when they desperately needed some innings, but he's not the same pitcher he was early in his career with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's a very, very beatable pitcher. He went 7-15 last year. Casey, good to see you, buddy. Thanks again. Hope to see you at another Strike Force game. By the way, Strike Force had a heck of a game the other night. They held on against the Northern Arizona Wranglers, 42-40. Heck of a game. Ocean View Coffee Shop. There they are. The Padres' everyday lineup is nice. I think so. I don't think there are any easy outs in that lineup. I mean, they're guys that are going to go through their peaks and valleys, and I think a Cronenworth right there. He can get hot, and he'll take his walks, but he can also go pretty cold. Fernando and Manny, for the most part, are pretty consistent. Laureano, I'm excited about him being here for an entire year. It's kind of funny the Padres got Laureano. I wanted them to get him like 3 years ago. I liked him when he was with the A's. I know he got dinged for a PED suspension as well, but I've always liked him. So they got a good outfield, a really nice outfield. I mean, you got a guy in right field that could play center if needed, a guy that can run and take away those hits down the line, let alone going in the right center field gap. And Merrill, 3rd year playing center. I mean, he's got to be in line for a Gold Glove here pretty quick. I mean, he's a great center fielder. For a kid that was a shortstop and only 3rd year playing center field, he's damn good. And Laureano's a former center fielder. So you got your outfield. We got as good outfield defense as there is in baseball right now, I think. And there's others that match up. But we're as good as anybody in the outfield. We really are. And we got dudes that can hit that play the outfield here. Ocean View Coffee Shop. Hope you're busy, man. Hope you're doing well. All right. Postal Tatis is my favorite player to watch and has been for years. Kevin is right, though, that Tatis does visibly sulk when he's going through a slump of any sort. I agree. He got to get over that. That's immaturity. And, he's not the little guy that, came from the White Sox organization, and he's not the son of a former big leaguer any longer. He is, but you know what I mean? He got to play. And, like I've said this before, go back 6 years ago and 4 years ago. I mean, this guy was one of the best players in baseball. And I don't know, he's not in the top 10 right now, I don't think. Maybe he is. But he got to put up better number. You got to hit better than 268. You got to hit more than 25 home runs. Why can't he? I'd rather have him than Juan Soto. But Soto can hit. And you know what? As much as I can complain about Soto and his time here in Sandy, he's a weird dude. The dude puts up numbers. And last year he got in shape and stole a bunch of bases. I mean, Juan Soto is one of the top 2 or 3 players in baseball. I mean, right now it's Ohtani, Judge, and probably Juan Soto. You put Bobby Witt in that conversation. I mean, those guys put up numbers that, you got to put up numbers if you want to be the best player in baseball. And Fernando's got to put up better numbers. It's that simple. We can talk about his defense. We talk more about his defense than we do his offense because his defense is really good. Offense is good, but not great. 25 homers. There are a lot of guys that hit 25 homers. He can do better. He can do better, and he can hit for a better average. 268, nothing to write home about. But he is my favorite player. But I want more out of Fernando. Love watching that guy play, though, when he wants to play. I don't like watching him sulk. Thank you very much for that question. I very much appreciate that. Okay. Coach, what are your thoughts on the supposed League City Connect jerseys? You know what? The ones that I saw 2. One was supposed to be the fake. The other one was the real one, the blue one, the sleeveless one. I don't know. Are they going to wear them Friday night? I guess they're going to wear them Friday night. The one that I saw, the one that's supposed to be the legit one, If it is, loved it. Loved it. But we'll see. I don't really have a comment. I haven't really looked that deep into it, to be honest with you. But I did see one, and then later in the day, it said it wasn't correct. It was a fraud, and then I saw another one, and the one that I did see, and they said was the real one. I thought it was pretty good. Thought it was really good. I liked it a lot actually. Thank you very much. Interesting question. Be anxious to see. And you know what? It was time to change. It was time. In fact, right here in my office here at home, I've got my City Connect, my old one. And the Padres were nice enough to give me one with my name on the back, which is kind of cool. Thank you very much. I appreciate the question. And again, for people tuning in for the first time, we're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. And there every once in a while, I've got a personal thing or a meeting I have to attend, and we'll adjust accordingly. But we try to be very consistent the best we can. Coach, do you think the starting rotation will get better, such as if Griffin Canning comes back? Yeah, Griffin Canning, yeah, it's going to get better. He's throwing the ball well, just can't field. They want to be very careful coming back from an Achilles. Now, think about this. And let's hope guys like Bueller and Marquez get the job done. Hopefully, Randy Vasquez continues to grow from where he was a year ago. Pavetta is close to what he was. I don't expect him to end the year with a 2.87 ERA. I mean, he was fantastic last year. As I mentioned, sixth in the Cy Young voting. I mean, I'll take a 3 ERA. I'll take a 3.2 ERA. I don't want him to go out there and try to do better than he did last year because then you're going to try to do too much. You're going to get yourself in trouble. So just go out there, pitch, see where the numbers fall. And Michael King made 15 starts last year. When he pitched, he was pretty good. But he's not had a good spring, missing locations right in the middle of the zone, too. You can't do that. But getting Griffin Canning back and getting a healthy Joe Musgrove back, that would be almost like making a trade. And they're really, I think, expecting Canning probably more around May. Maybe early May. I don't really know the time frame. There hasn't been a whole lot talked about, but we just know he's starting the year along with Musgrove and Sung Moon Song on the IL. And there'll probably be some other guys put on the IL either today or tomorrow. But thank you very much. I'm looking forward to Griffin Canyon. I kind of like him. Really changed his repertoire last year pitching for the New York Mets. Big Norm, do you think a team's ability to take advantage of the ABS will significantly impact the race for playoff spots? Hard to say. I'm sure it will. I mean, who knows? There may be a call with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth, and the catcher gives it that, and they end up pulling the chain on a guy after the umpire said it was ball four, and then you're going to have a big rhubarb. Now, nobody argues anymore. You know what I like to do? A buddy of mine, we send back and forth. We watch managers. There's one of Joe Torre years ago coming out and arguing, and Wally Backman when he was managing independent ball. We'll watch these arguments. None of these arguments ever happen anymore. Don Zimmer coming out getting ejected. You get things on Twitter or Facebook, and they're hilarious. But you're never going to have those type of arguments any longer. And some people say that's good, but I think old baseball people, we all get a kick out of it. Some of those managers, especially if they had a big chaw in, giving the umpires a what for, a lot of fun. But no, it's going to come into play at some point in time. And again, if I was managing, my pitchers would never challenge. It'd only be my catcher. And my hitter, of course, would have the freedom. But I'll be honest, I'm keeping my challenges to later in the game. I mean, if there's 2 outs in the third inning, I'm not going to, and nobody on, I'm not going to challenge a call because if I'm wrong, I lose the challenge. I'm going to wait till a critical situation is when I'm going to use those challenges. But my pitchers would never ever be allowed to challenge. Okay, I'm only letting my catcher challenge. So they said in the rule book it can be a pitcher, catcher, or hitter. Pitchers too emotional. They think everything's a strike. No way. No way am I allowing my pitchers to tap their head. No way. All right. Thank you very much, Norm. I appreciate that. Okay, my predictions for the American League. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm going to get through this fairly quickly. AL East, I know a lot of people love the Yankees, but I'm going with Toronto. They're a hungry team. They got a great manager in John Schneider. They were 94 and 68 a year ago. I think they win the division again this year. What is interesting, last year they lost the tiebreaker to the Yankees. Yankees were 94 and 68. I think the Yankees, they finished good last year, but Aaron Boone's always under the microscope. Yankees will finish second. I got Boston. I like Boston. Boston's a fun team. Some people are picking Roman Anthony to be the most valuable player in the American League. I think that's a little bit of a stretch for a young guy, but Boston surprised everybody last year. They finished third, 89 and 73. They lost in the wild card. Baltimore, boy, man, their window of opportunity closed in a hurry, didn't it? 75 and 87 a year ago. They finished last place. They got a new manager in Craig Albernaz. I know absolutely nothing about him. And Tampa Bay, Kevin Cash, man, he's been through a lot there. Last year they were 77 and 85, finished in fourth. I got them finishing in the cellar this year, which is not cool. AL Central, I think we're gonna see the division champ opening day. I think the Tigers win it. They're 87 and 75 a year ago. They were second in the division. They lost in the ALDS. I got Kansas City finishing second. They were 82 and 80 a year ago. Third in the division. A lot of people like Minnesota. I don't like Minnesota for third. I got them fourth. I got Cleveland, who lost last year in the AL wild card. They were 88 and 74. I'm going with Cleveland in third, Minnesota fourth, and the Chicago White Sox, who last year went 60 and 102 with our man Will Venable. They're going to finish in the cellar again. They're going to be more competitive, though, this year. I think they'll be more competitive. AL West, Angels, I got them finishing in the basement at 72 and 90. They were fifth last year. They're going to finish up there. They got Kurt Suzuki on a one-year contract. Good baseball guy, former longtime major league catcher. I hope they're better than that. I hope he does a good enough job where he gets a second year. I got Seattle winning the division. They were 90 and 72. And they're going to be good. I don't think Raleigh's going to hit 50 homers this year, let alone 60. Texas, 81 and 81. I got them finishing in second place. New manager, our old buddy Skip Schumacher, was a big listener to my radio show. Houston in third. Athletics fourth. My buddy Mark Kotze. Kotze's record winnings losses are not good because he's been with the Athletics. But every year they're getting a little better. Last year they only finished 10 games under 500. They got a lot of good young players up there. They could make some noise in that AL West this year. See just how big a step they can take. Okay, moving over to the NL. And then we're going to get to a little Aztec basketball talk, and then we'll close it out with Coach's Mailbag. NL East, everybody likes Atlanta. And maybe so. But I like the Philadelphia. I like grinders. And I think the Philadelphia Phillies are a grinder. And I think Aaron Nola is back on track. He had a miserable season last year. I think he's going to be back on track. I know they lost Ranger Suarez there in Philadelphia, but I think they're going to be good. Schwarber re-signed. Harper's got something to prove. They got a lot of good players. They got the catalyst at the top of the lineup, Trey Turner. I'm going with Philadelphia. They were 96 and 66. Some people think they're going to finish in third place. Union Tribune had them in third. I'm not going with that. I'm going with Harper and the whole gang in Philadelphia. I've got Atlanta finishing in second. They were 76 and 86, fourth in the NL last year. They got a new manager in Walt Weiss, a good baseball man. New York Mets, I got 83 and 79. Carlos Mendoza, he may not make it through the year. I think he's a good manager, but I think it's a real pain there in that clubhouse. I don't know what kind of year they're going to have, but I think they finish in third. And if that's the case, he'll probably get fired and they'll make some trades, maybe even before the end of the year. Fourth, I've got Miami. They were 79 and 83. People don't realize that. Clayton McCullough, the former Dodger first base coach, really did a hell of a job there. I mean, he got a lot of young players. Doesn't get a whole lot of help from ownership there. Did a very nice job in his first year, finishing in third in the National League East. People don't even realize that they finished third because everybody just expects the Marlins to suck. Washington, their new manager, Blake Butera, 66 and 96, fifth place. They should be a little bit better this year. National League Central. This one was a little bit tougher for me. Because Milwaukee, Pat Murphy has won the manager of the year 2 times in a row, and deservedly so. He did last 2 years. He's been unbelievable, really. And I give him a lot of credit because he's really adjusted from his short time here in San Diego as the interim manager and what I saw to what I've witnessed watching him manage now in the big leagues, night and day. He set his ego aside has really done a nice job, done a really nice job. But I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. I think the Cubs are a pretty good ball club, and I think they spent some money during the offseason. They were 92-70 last year, lost in the NLDS. They got a great manager in Craig Counsell. I got the Cubs winning it. It could be very close. Milwaukee will finish in second. I got Pittsburgh. Some people got Pittsburgh being a wild card team this year. I don't. I think they're going to make improvements. They were 71-91 a year ago. I remember they had Craig Shelton. They fired him. They brought in Donnie Kelly. Kelly ended up going 59-65 down the stretch, so not bad. But they'll probably finish in third. Cincinnati Reds, Hunter Green not going to be able to pitch. That hurts. There's some things I like about Cincinnati, but I think they finish in fourth. And then the Cardinals, they've already told everybody they're rebuilding, so they're going to finish in last place. And at some point in time, they're going to have to make a managerial change. Not that Ollie Marmol isn't a good manager. I think he's a loyal guy, but I don't think he will see the entire rebuild. And when they do get it rebuilt, they'll probably bring in a new manager, and that very well could be Yadier Molina. Now, as far as the National League West, until future notice, I mean, we could probably pencil or pen in the Dodgers the next 5 years to win the division. Okay, I don't see anybody overtaking these guys for a long time. They're going to be the annual champs. What they've won 10 out of the last 11. And the 1 year they didn't win it, they still won 106 games. That was the year the Giants miraculously won 107. But I mean, Dave Roberts getting ready to start his 11th year as manager, and he's already won 9 division titles. I mean, 9 division titles and a 3-time world champion. You know what Dave Roberts' career record is as the Dodger manager? I mean, he's got the highest winning percentage of any manager in the history of baseball that's managed, like, I think over 500 games, okay? Or over 1,000 games now. His record as a Dodger manager, really amazing. 944 and 575. I mean, that is insane. That is an insane record. I don't care what organization it is. You win that percentage of games, unbelievable. But I've got the Dodgers winning. I got the Padres coming in second. I got the Giants third, Arizona fourth, and Colorado fifth. That's the way I got it. Union Tribune, the way they picked the division, they had the Dodgers 1, the Giants 2, Arizona 3, Padres 4, and Colorado number 5. That's what they had. Okay, reports, and I guess it came out on his Twitter account as well. He's got an agent, his agency. BJ Davis, who was a good player, probably should have won the 6th man of the year in the Mountain West Conference. Problem was they had to start him there at the end of the year. He's a good player. Not a difference maker, though, in my opinion. He was a good player at San Diego State. Not an all-conference guy for me. Going to enter the transfer portal. Hey, good luck. If you don't want to be here, I'll see you down the road. See, Brian Dutcher's a lot nicer than me. And I guess you got to be nice now to everybody. But if a guy enters the transfer portal, you're done. See, you're not coming back. We're going to have a conversation before you enter the transfer portal. But once you enter the transfer portal, you're not coming back. Because you know what? The reason you're not coming back is because you didn't get the deal you thought you were deserved. And you know what? Maybe you didn't deserve that deal. And now you're going to come back and take the money from me when you wanted to walk away for a bigger deal. Goodbye. See ya. Go get somebody else. There are a lot of players in this world. Go out and recruit. But anybody wants to, hey, everybody's free to do what they want. Okay. Free trade. But if you're playing for me and you want to go out there and dip your toe and see what else is out there, goodbye. I can't wait around for you. I'm not going to wait for a phone call at 11 o'clock at night whether or not you're coming back to play for me. I got to move on. I got to worry about my program. You're worrying about yourself. I'm worrying about myself. Goodbye. Thank you very much. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a kiss and wish you the best. And but I'm not bringing you back. Okay, that tells me you're a me type guy. So good luck. Okay, let's get to Coach's mailbag. The old saying, you're either with me or you're against me. User 2342, will the Padres use the ABS system on opening day? Absolutely. Every Major League Baseball team is going to be using it opening day. They're going to use it for the entire season. So it'll be interesting. I'll be honest with you. I like it. You get 2 challenges per game. I like it because it's quick. You don't have to wait around for 3 minutes for guys to go over and look at a replay or 5 minutes. And they put it up on the scoreboard, kind of interactive with the fans. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. So we'll look forward to seeing how they work it at Petco Park tomorrow. Hey, there's also some new things at Petco Park. I got to see, did they put Jack back up down on the right field foul line? I'm not going to the game. I'm going to watch the game tomorrow because I got to pick my wife up at the train station. She's coming back. She's been gone for a week. She comes back on opening day. How about that? But they took Jack down. Last time I was at Petco Park a few weeks ago for Randy's celebration of life, Jack wasn't on the foul pole down the right field line. There was a lot of people disappointed. I hope Jack's back. I thought that was really cool. User 2342, enjoy opening day. All right, Pod Squad, what's your prediction of where the Padres will be at the All-Star break? I think they'll be in second. You get off to a good start, be in second place, get a new owner in here, maybe go out and bring somebody in at the trading deadline, take on a big salary of a ball club that's already played their way out of it, and let's make a run at the World Series. Hey, Dodgers aren't guaranteed to win the World Series. I mean, I'm not going to say they got lucky because they play good baseball and they kept themselves in games, but Toronto's still got to be kicking themselves. How did they lose that in the game 7? How did they lose that game? Unbelievable. Dodgers has got that. They work hard, they play hard, they put themselves in great position, and the ball bounced their way. I still can't believe that catch by Andy Pages or that play by Miguel Rojas. Unbelievable. Just amazing. I mean, everybody talks about Rojas's home run, granted, but that defensive play he made at second and the play that Pages made where he ran over Kike Hernandez, wow, that's one of the greatest plays you'll ever see in World Series history. I mean, that there is right there with Willie Mays, to be honest with you, because if that ball falls, the game's over and the series goes to Toronto. They're still drinking beer up in Toronto if they'd have won that game. All right, what else we got? Thank you for watching. Oh, man, what a show today. Bernie Wilson, we talked about the biggest dicks that we ever dealt with the Padres, and there are a few more, but those are the two prominent ones, Danny Jackson. And Kevin Brown with me wasn't as bad as he was maybe with Bernie, but Danny Jackson, just for a guy that was at the end of the line, just maybe he was frustrated because he knew he couldn't do it any longer. But Tony Gwynn was a savior. He goes, don't worry about it, coach. He's not going to be here very long. And he was gone the next week. I don't think I had anything to do with it, but who knows? Kevin Towers always used to ask me little things about certain guys, and I'd give him my opinion. Kevin, what a cool GM Kevin Towers was. He'd come out and sit with us in the press box. I mean, he'd come out and sit, in an afternoon game. He'd be sitting in the press box talking with us during the games, which was pretty cool. Okay, Friday, we'll break down game 1. Get you ready for game 2. If you're tuning in for the first time or have been tuning in, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please share, please tell a friend. And if you'd like to be a part of our Gold Glove package, and what that is, you're basically helping me out, helping Jonathan out. We put this on 3 days a week. It helps pay some of our bills. We don't have big bills, but we do have a few bills doing what we're doing. Again, for $2.99 a month, go to our YouTube page, hit join. Takes a matter of seconds, and we'd appreciate anything. And we appreciate the supers that we get from time to time as well. Again, Friday morning, 9 a.m. Everyone have a great opening day tomorrow. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see Nick Pivetta go against Tarek Skubal. Hope the Padres, we're talking about a big win on Friday morning. Until then, Coach John Kentera, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the John Kentera Show. Bye-bye.